You hit play, and here we are at the Journey Jukebox, a Big Blend radio travel podcast featuring Lisa Evans, a travel writer, photographer, travel advisor, and the author of 100 Things to Do in Coastal Mississippi Before You Die. Everyone, it is time for another Journey Jukebox episode here on Big Blend Radio with travel writer and travel advisor Lisa Evans. Last month, we talked about Memphis, and now we're going to go on the other side of the music highway of Tennessee to Nashville, Music City. And of course, you know, Lisa loves music. We both do. And she was just in the Caribbean, though, in between all of this. So I think she had steel drum music going on, maybe some reggae. And now we're going to go country on you, Lisa. Welcome home. How are you?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. It's been a hectic, but yeah, it definitely different genres, absolutely, from the Bahamian music and cultural to Nashville and country. So yes,
Yeah.
definitely the opposite end, but still music is music. So
Yeah. Well, I know we're going to be loading up the the Journey Jukebox playlist, music playlist on Spotify with some music. We got to put Johnny Cash in there.
absolutely.
We could go on for hours. That's never ending. So everyone, that link is in the episode notes. As always, we add music every episode. And of course, Nashville's just massive. So good luck on that. It's a whole thing to put together. But today we're going to focus on 8 unique things to do and experience in Nashville. Some you've heard of, and then there's some that are just going to blow your mind a little bit. So I think we all know that we have to go and check out the Grand Ole Opry. That's going to be one of the main, there's so much to do in Nashville. To choose 8 is hard, but there's tons. Just going to all the honky tonks, eating all the good food. Isn't it their chicken? Isn't there a certain chicken that you have to eat when you're out there?
It could be. We spent so much time running around. It was just, I didn't get to spend like you could spend weeks in Nashville and probably never see the same thing twice, but all right, maybe not weeks, but several days anyway. And I think I was there for maybe 3 or 4. So it kind of got crammed into, and again, touching on the highlights and a couple of, off the beaten path things that I had not heard of, which were actually pretty amazing places to visit.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. Let's go there, the Grand Ole Opry. So
Okay.
you got to go inside there, and this is historic, and it's been through a lot over the years, even just with the weather.
It has. And you know what? It's an absolutely beautiful place. The thing, obviously that's a little bit, it's outside of the city, not outside of the city, but it's away from all the downtown area a little bit. And when you get over there, the landscaping is just, flowers, and it's just beautiful. Somebody took a lot of pride in the whole landscaping thing. And then of course, once you get inside, it's the Grand Ole Opry. So, let's be honest. So you have to I was lucky enough to do the backstage tour, and I'll tell you what, I would definitely recommend the Grand Ole Opry to walk through is beautiful, and but if you want to really see like behind the scenes kind of thing, I would do the backstage tour. It's what I did, and it was like my jaw dropped a few times because you literally get to walk, you go through the front where that's what you all see on TV and whatever. But the backstage, you get to see the dressing rooms where the various artists hang out, and they have several, and they're all different themed. And, you just get to walk through like where they warm up kind of thing, where they, I won't say practice because you're professional musicians, but it's just really cool to take you behind all the pomp and circumstance to, and they take you into the door where the artists come in, and then they take you to the halls, and and then they'll tell you so-and-so stayed in this one and so-and-so stayed in this one, but didn't like this one, wanted to move across the hall. The tour guides that I had was really, really good, and gave us a couple of little, stories about this one or that one. And I'm sure, are they true? I don't know, but they add to the, aura of the Opry. And then of course you come, the front of the Opry, everybody sees, and you get to go up on stage on that, with that iconic microphone that you see in the pictures and everywhere, that there's a wooden circle where the microphone, you get to go up and of course, take 8 million pictures, and just so many different things. There's lots of exhibits too on the walls as you walk around. So you can it's quite an experience. If you walk through, you do the backstage and then you walk through and you're looking at all the pictures and all the things that have been donated by the various artists. And then when you see some of the people that you wouldn't necessarily expect that have been on the Opry stage, you're like, oh wow, they've been there. It's really very interesting.
I love that. And then, places like the Ryman Auditorium, our
Oh,
friends were just there and they did like a backstage tour or something too. And while they were there, Blackberry Smoke was doing their sound check. I'm like, dude, you wouldn't be able to get me out of there.
yeah.
I'm sitting there for the rest of this night. Thank you very much. Did you get to tour the Ryman? Because that is
I,
also just like a household name. We all know
yes.
the Ryman, right?
I did. I mean, I didn't do the backstage, I'll be honest, at the Ryman, but when you walk in, I mean, the acoustics and just the simple beauty of this auditorium, because obviously it's been around the block a little way, so they've restored it, but they've restored it in like true to form, and just the acoustics. And they had somebody warming up there the day I was there. The sound is amazing. And again, you get to go up on the stage and talk to I was in a group of like maybe, I don't know, 8 or 10 of us, and we're all up on the stage, and you do the same thing like you do at the Opry. You go up and and when you're standing on the stage and you are looking up at the seats, I can't imagine when that's filled. And if you're an artist that's performing there, it's got to be amazing. And again, the displays. I mean, there's just so many people that have played the Ryman. And so they have exhibits.
All
So of course,
genres. Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, there's posters and memorabilia. I mean, from Peter Frampton Peter Frampton, just all different kinds. Of course, every country music legend, people you haven't, maybe are not mainstream, like Blackberry Smoke. I've heard of them. A lot of people have, but has the mainstream? I don't know. But they've played at the Ryman, and that's a nice little feather in your cap. And again, outside, they've got this really cool little statue of little Jimmy Dickens, and just the exhibits I found were very interesting. Just like you said, all the different genres that have played at the Ryman, and the Ryman itself, the building, it's just beautiful. I mean, and it's like right in heart of downtown, and you just see this big, beautiful building.
What I think is so cool about the Ryman and then, the Grand Ole Opry and stuff is so many albums. I mean, the Grand Ole Opry goes back to live shows, like that
Hmm.
were out on the radio and stuff. There's so much history in the Ryman, you know, there's so many albums, if you think back, that were
Yes.
recorded there. Or, it's like that, oh, this was the opening of a new album and now they're on tour and they're playing there. So when you have albums that, I don't know, it just connects with what we have and,
Hmm.
that we listen to, and it gives you that extra layer of musical goodness. I call it the musical jollies, you know.
Yeah.
It makes me happy. But, the other thing too is you went to Madame Tussauds, and Madame
Oh,
Tussauds, see, to me, this is so cool because the wax museum thing it's interesting, but they are really lifelike. And I was
oh
on their
yes.
website, and everyone, links are in the episode notes. We've got great articles from Lisa, the music, all of that's all listed and linked in the episode notes. But when, I was looking at Madame Tussauds, they just started wine tasting there. And I'm like, you're going to
Oh
walk
wow.
around and hang out with Elvis. You can get your photo taken. I mean, there's Aretha
Oh, I
Franklin.
did.
You did? You got your
Of
photo.
course.
You had
I
just
had
went,
to. I had
you had
to.
Memphis, you went to Graceland,
Yeah.
all of that. Yeah. So that,
I think I took a picture of every wax statue in there because I mean, like you said, there's so lifelike, and on one at the end at the end there's a stage, like an actual, mimicking like the opera stage or something like that. And they've got like Reba, and there's got like 4 different artists. I think it was Reba and Alan Jackson and a couple others. And they have a song going, or a compilation of different hits, so you can get your picture taken singing with these legends like Reba. But they just have so many, and things like, I mean, you go from Rihanna to Minnie Pearl. I mean, you've got that big of the difference. And Billie Holiday, they have a whole little
Mm.
section with Duke Ellington, a statue of Duke Ellington,
Oh,
and Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald. It's just the coolest thing. And then you move through it, and then you go to Reba and Alan Jackson, and then you go to Bono, and then you've got Elvis, and then you got BB King. It's just really, it's really cool. I mean, I've been to Madame Tussauds in New York City. And I've been to, I want to say there was another one I went to in one of the cities, but I did like this one. This one was just, and they're so lifelike. They really, really are.
I think Vegas has one. London, I think Vegas one. We went to, I don't know what happened. We were going to go. Something happened, but it's fascinating to me. It just
hmm
is. It's interesting to see it. And then, just all the musicians throughout the years. And so they've made it kind of more of an interactive kind of experience, I think, there. So it's not,
And Madame Tussauds is like, so if you go to the Grand Ole Opry, it's like very close to the Grand Ole Opry. So it's like that I
oh,
did the same. Yeah. So it's like kind of across the street and down the road or whatever. And it was like, well, heck, let's go. You come out of the Opry and then you go to Madame Tussauds and you're seeing all these. It's a good experience. I would, again, highly recommend that.
well, you know what? August is American Artists Appreciation Month. I'm just saying. So this is a way, I mean, musicians are artists, and this is a way
Yes.
to really, pay homage to some of our favorite musicians. And you went to a few museums too, and one is the National Museum of African American Music. And oh boy, I'd get stuck in there forever.
I almost did because again, you get sucked in because it's basically when you walk into this museum and this new museum is like relatively new. I want to say it's open. It was either, well, it could have been 2020 because that was COVID. So maybe like 2021. It's relatively new. And so when you walk into this big open space, you've got like some art, some African American art and just different art forms. And then you go down and you check in and they give you, which I thought was really cool. So they give you this little brace. I think it was like a bracelet of some kind. And then when you walk through the museum, they have these interactive exhibits. And so, for lack of a better way to describe it, so it's kind of like Wheel of Fortune, but it takes you through the history. So, like, say you want to go back to the 90s for whatever, pick a decade.
Mm.
And what it'll do is it's kind of like you can read this whole little like wheel of fortune spin thing, and it takes you through different artists. And then it gives you clips of their music. And if you want to save the clip, you can like press the little band and it records it. So you can take your very own playlist home. It was the coolest thing. I got so into it. I mean, literally, I stayed at these little interactive. I mean, I walked through the whole museum, which was very, very interesting. And it basically charts it goes from the roots of the African American music right up through time. And we're talking gospel, R&B, jazz, blues, hip hop, like the whole span and there's exhibits, all these really interesting exhibits. A lot of it is a lot of reading. So, and I'm not going to lie, there were some that I skipped by because I didn't read the whole thing because I wanted to get to the music. But I found like I literally stayed in this interactive area with the playlist. I went like wheel to wheel to wheel. I was like, I think my playlist, I can't even tell you
Ooh.
how many and you get to take it home. Well, it's on this little chip, obviously, and you get to come home and you can download it. So
Oh, cool.
it was really interesting. The interactive exhibits. I mean, that's the first time I had seen something like that, and I thought, wow, this is innovative, and it gives you a little taste. Like, say maybe you know the name Duke Ellington, but you really don't know any of his songs. So you go and you find Duke Ellington and it goes through the history and there's probably like a bunch of his songs and you can hit a button and it'll play his songs and give you the history
Caravan.
as you're reading the history. It's really interesting. I got lost there. It was like down the rabbit hole. It was so fun.
Duke Ellington's like one of my heroes. I really love his music and Caravan. I used to play that like when back in our musical organ days. A lot, a lot. I really just got into his music, and it would be dangerous. I don't think I'd leave that. I would be there all day. And I love that
I was there.
they're changing up like that too.
I was there for I was there for longer than I had, because obviously we want to go here, 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 and here. And, so you figure you give yourself, whatever, an hour or whatever. I'll bet you there was no way I was only in there for an hour. I think I was an hour just listening to like these wheels of music. It just was, I found it very interesting because, I mean, it goes back we're talking like back years into the roots of the African American music, and how it started here and just how it grew through the gospel and the whole bit. So it was very interesting.
Now, the other thing too is Johnny Cash has a museum there. And of course we know, I mean, he's huge there, and Nashville's gone through so many different cycles, and I think it's, I just talked to a producer out there a few days ago, and it seems that it's opened up more beyond country, even though it's still very country roots. But people are really like the session musicians are, top. I mean, it's just a true music community. And because, we were talking about that whole difference between Memphis and Nashville, but from the musician side, I was asking him, and he was just saying it is like a true community and people really work together. It's nice and they're talented. I mean, he's like, if you need a musician, you need a drummer, you can get some of the best drummers there for that track or whatever you're doing. And then you'll go out and you'll see them perform somewhere. It's like, oh, look, so it's cool. I think that musicians do have those places because it's hard and it's such a beautiful area of our country.
Yeah.
Tennessee's gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. But Johnny Cash, I mean, come on, and I thought his last album was when he did that whole acoustic cover.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't that good? Like when he did 9-Inch Nails, like Hurts.
It was. I mean, it's something that you'd never expect, but that was the Man in Black. And the one thing, I mean, the Johnny Cash Museum is considerably smaller than some of the others, but it is jam packed with memorabilia. I mean, like pretty. I can't even, it was very busy. So it was, it's not a big space and it was packed with people because you got to go to the Johnny Cash Museum. You just have to. You're in Nashville. It would be like sacrilege not to. But it's small, but it has so many of memories and it takes you through and, it's all wide open. I mean, and there's like some of his outfits and his album covers and his portraits and his chairs, he had a favorite chair. It was just, but it takes you through all this in a very small space, but it has a lot of memorabilia. Our only bad thing, and well, actually, we probably weren't supposed to. I mean, I got some pictures, but it is very dark because he was a man in black. It's not like he was, bright and sunny and pink and yellows kind of thing. So it's very, what do I want to say? Not dark and foreboding. It's the smoky jazz clubs. You know how they're dark kind of thing. It was that kind of atmosphere, and of course, all the exhibits are highlighted with the lights so you can see and read. And it was very interesting. I mean, just his whole life. I mean, from, his, and I think I want to say I have a picture somewhere maybe of like when he did, Folsom Blues kind of thing. And they show footage and there's musical clips, of course. It's very interesting. If you're a Johnny Cash fan and you haven't been there, and there are some diehard fans. And if you haven't been there, my son is one actually. But if you haven't been there, that is like, nirvana for everybody because it really does have so much memorabilia about him and June and just their whole life. It was very interesting.
Well, I think him and when the Highwaymen got together, like Chris Christopherson and Merle and Waylon, they were about unity and peace, no matter what kind of music. And now it seems like sometimes our music goes on a political side. I'm just saying, that
a little bit.
That it's not what they wanted, and so I think that's what's so great is that they transcended boundaries and barriers and little lines in the sand, all that stupid stuff, and really united people in the country, I think, because you'll find someone loves like, the Highwaymen or something, and then they'll get into Johnny Cash through that, or, they were part of like the and they worked with, all colors of the rainbow. Let's put it that way.
Right,
They
right,
worked
right.
with everyone. They wanted to connect with the people, whether it's indigenous people, Black people, people in prison, like what he was doing,
Mhm.
Johnny Cash, So I thought they just were just the unity of them was
Yeah.
amazing to me. And so how they could reach out to all ages. And like you're saying, Johnny Cash reaches all ages and his story is incredible. And right
Yes,
now,
it
I have
is.
to say, as we record this, we're in his home state of Arkansas. So there,
I
I'm
know.
just saying, we're only a couple hours from his home.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting when you go to these museums and you see people's lives and he's had a lot of struggles in his life,
Oh,
and
oh, yes. Yes,
remember,
yes.
you know,
And if you stop it, I mean, obviously, I would assume most people have watched Walk the Line. That was that whole story, and of course, it's a Hollywood film, so obviously they took liberties here and there. But I mean, that was his and June's story was very interesting. I mean, they have pictures of them together, and when they were touring, and then after they got married, and he is a he's an icon, or was an icon. It still is, but I've never, I mean, I love all music. Country has never been like my number one pick, I'll be honest. But I mean, there's a lot of country artists that I like. And Johnny Cash, like you said, he just transcends everything. He's kind of like the Elvis of country, I guess. I don't know. That's maybe not a good analogy, but he's been through so much and did so much. And as you said, just tried to unite people and never tried to stir the pot. Well, maybe he did, but just in his own way. And he was like in his 80s or 90s when he passed, wasn't he? He'd been around a while.
yeah, I
So
mean, you wouldn't think that after all the
no, right.
shenanigans.
After all the
Yeah.
hard living, we'll call it.
Yeah, there you go. Well put. Hard living is a good way of putting it. Well, and then you balance this all out. You went to the Country Music Hall of Fame, and
Yes.
so I mean, I want to go there because I want to see the women represented because there were so many
Hmm.
women way back when,
There are.
and I don't know how many really got the representation. Just like going to the
Well,
African American Museum, right?
yes.
African American Music Museum, because I mean, thank goodness for people like Bonnie Raitt and and like Johnny Cash and Willie did bring people up the line. They did, and
Yes.
I know Willie still does, and his sons are doing the same thing. They just like they it goes into that community thing, let's put it that way. And the country music side, even, there were musicians that I just think sometimes didn't get as much as they could have. So did you see any of that in that museum? I'm just wondering.
Yeah. There's a lot of people, and again, like I said, I'm not going to lie and say that I was 100% up on all the country musicians, but there was obviously the standards whose names I knew that are in there. But then every now and then you'd go past an exhibit and go, oh wow, I've heard that name. I didn't realize that this was, they were in the Country Music Hall of Fame kind of thing. And again, there's a lot of exhibits. There's a lot of I shouldn't say costumes, like clothing that were worn by certain people. And there's a
Did they have
yeah. And then of course you've got the cars, like the oh, what do I want to say? The kit car, for whatever reason, the kit car. You remember? Actually, you might be too young. Knight Rider.
No,
the
we
kit
were just
car.
talking about that, how no one else could have been, Kit, I need you. I remember you'd look at us, what, Kit, I need you. And don't we all want to come pick us up and take us?
Yeah, the
And
kit car. And Smokey and the
what's
Bandit.
it doing in there? What is
well,
it?
Come
on now.
And then the other one, do you remember the Burt Reynolds Smokey and the Bandit?
Yeah, I watched that.
That car's there, and I want to even say one of Burt Reynolds's costumes or something. Yeah, it just was. It's eclectic, I guess, in the way it's set up, but it's still true to the whole country music. The whole country music thing, and you've got your standards, your icons, and then like I said, every now and then you'll go by and you go, oh wow, I didn't know they were in here. I didn't know they'd been inducted, kind of thing. So it was very interesting, to be honest. I mean, and this is just my personal thing. Of all the museums I went to, that was my lesser favorite. I still liked it, but of all the other places I went, and I won't say it was just like, because to me, that's a typical museum. But again, you're in Nashville, you got to go to the Country Music Hall of Fame. You have to.
Did they have BC McCall? We got us a convoy. You got me in the car thing now.
I'm sure. But the one thing that I do recall about it that was, I thought, really cool, but at the end of the tour, you go into this big open space, and of course I can't, but it's it has like depictions of various different country music artists, and it's an all open area for acoustic, and it's just, if you look up and look around and the sun comes in, it's that kind of thing. And that's right at the end of the tour. It's just it's an experience, and of course you have to go. But like I said, I did enjoy the other smaller museums, the African American and the Johnny Cash and those type. It was a lot. To me, it was more commercialized. I mean, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed going through it and seeing, because I did learn a couple of things, but it was a little bit more commercialized than the others, I guess. Maybe that's the word I want. But
Well,
it's one of those places that if you're in Nashville,
you have to go.
You gotta.
It's a must do. It's a must do. And this is the thing. It's all about our interests too. And that's the cool thing. Like you found things you didn't know. So even if that's not your thing, like I've been to sports museums, like this, Louisiana Sports Museum of Hall of Fame. I have no clue about anything about sports, but then I was like, oh, I know. So Terry Bradshaw's in there. I'm going to see him.
You've heard that name.
I know, he's fun, but I learned all these things, and it's really about, these careers and looking at how did they get through this journey? What did they do? Which is so exciting. So I think it's interesting. And I know, to me, I think this is all cool. I haven't done any of these things. I've heard about them, but I love this list. I want to go. I'm excited about this because I did not realize this. And I kind of heard something about it, but I did not know what it was until I read your article. Everyone, the Parthenon in Nashville does not look like it belongs in Nashville, but it's there.
Correct.
And I think you should go. And it looks like a nice place to go take a walk and see this giant Parthenon. It's the Parthenon.
It is. It's the last thing you would expect to see. And to be honest with you, when the tour guide, when I was on the tour, it's in a place, it's called Centennial Park, which is a lot of green space, beautiful trees and flowers and landscape or whatever. So, and it's got like a stream and these little bridges. And then you get there, and then there's this big Greek building. I'm like, wait, we're in Nashville. We're not in Athens. We're in Nashville. And it is a full scale replica of the Parthenon. It's amazing. So if you've never been to Greece, you can say you've been to the Parthenon, nobody will ever know the difference. But it sits in Centennial Park, and it is a true form, true size, true everything. When you go in, you see the big golden statues. It's really quite amazing. It's like, wow, this is cool. Sitting in a park in Nashville. It's just so out of place, but it's the cool. And of course, it's surrounded, like there's paths all around where you can walk, and it's outdoors and it's green space. And then, of course, in the green space, there's different statues of Greek mythology, and it's cool. I mean, it's really interesting. But like you said, you sit there going, "Wait, I'm in Nashville." But it's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful, and it's huge. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, because it is it's a true full scale life. Same thing as what's in Greece, what's in Athens, and you don't realize how big it is until you're like right there looking up, going, "Oh my God, this thing is huge." It's definitely a must see. Again, and it's in this beautiful park where you can just stroll around. There's like a little man-made lake or whatever with ducks, and it's just it's really, and for a nice walk, it's relaxing, and you walk around and you got this big Parthenon in the middle. It's pretty cool.
Well, the other thing too, which is, to me fascinating, is where you stay, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get to this is the 8th thing, where you want to stay. And so this is a hotel, like if you want to be able to walk to different places, it's cool. And
it's also right on the bus route.
That's good. And it's a depot. And so I'm enthralled about this hotel. I like places that you can park and walk or get, it's just if you've been driving, and listen, I drive the country full time. So there's where I just like to say, give my car a break, give me some stress-free time, especially in a city, because no, I just did my Kansas City twirl arounds. Okay. I'm not doing it again for a while. Yeah. One-way roads and Lisa do not hang out very well. Lisa Evans may be able to drive all that, but yeah, it's just nice to, maybe take public transport, or I think you were talking about in your article that there's, old town trolley tours and stuff like that you can take in Nashville. So I love that. So you can park, but I'm the Union Station Hotel. So this is
Yes.
the old historic station, and to be
Yep.
able to sleep in there is amazing to me, because I just think about all the people from all walks of life who have been there throughout the years, and did they arrive in Nashville with, $10 in their pocket and a dream, or you know what I mean? You just
Yeah.
don't know who came in and who left and what went down. I mean, that's one of those if walls could talk places. I think deep, you know what I mean? You and I both love history so much like that, but but then you're sleeping there, and I don't know, it just has a whole different, that's cool. So tell us
Yeah,
about this
it's and
hotel, because
and it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, when you so the ground floor, obviously, where back in the day where they would come in and, get their ticket, do whatever. Well, the floor is the lobby. You got check-in on one side, you got a bar over here, you got a little restaurant that's down that faces the street of that goes by. But it's so opulent, and the architecture and just the sheer beauty. I mean, I walked in there and it was like you look up and you just see these domed arches and the woodworking, and it's just whoever restored it did a fabulous job. I can't even imagine the time, the effort, the money, the research, everything. But it's just absolutely beautiful. The gold and the wood, and I can't even describe it. So that takes up basically the main floor. So you've got, and then of course, you've got the elevator. So you've got some rooms that are on like the outskirts of this main floor, and then you go up. And so I think, I think I believe it was on like the second story. So you go up, and of course you have the railings around that all look down at this absolutely beautiful lobby.
that's
But then
amazing.
you look up and it's got these big domed ceilings,
Yeah.
and you look across and
Right.
you have the big clock with the wood. It's just, I just walked around one evening, like, you can go sit, and they have these nice big comfy chairs in the lobby, and the bar is like right over there. So you can get a drink and come over and just sit in the big comfy chairs. And I couldn't stop taking pictures. It just the sheer beauty of it. And then you just look up to this huge, and the chandeliers, it's just beautiful. I can't even describe the beauty of this place. And like you said, to sit and think in these big comfy chairs that are just enveloping you. You got a nice little drink there, and you're sitting there, and it's a great place to people watch. I love to people
Oh
watch.
yeah. But I love
And
these big kind of chairs, because then you're all, you can have another
right.
cocktail and not worry about
Yep.
falling off your bar stool. Yeah.
And if you want to cozy up to the bar, you could do that too. It's right there to the side, and so you can still sit at the bar and still kind of get the feeling. They have a piano, like a piano where a piano player will sit there, so you can hang out in this beautiful lobby and you listen to the piano, have a drink. And if you're so inclined and you want to go have dinner at their restaurant, maybe you wait out there and then you go have dinner. And the food I did have dinner at the restaurant. It was very good. And it's kind of cool. The name of it is Station Airy, Airy, because it's when you walk in, it's all windows. So you can look right out. And the food was actually very good. It was good. And then you come out to this again, you sit in the lobby in this beautiful place, listening to piano. Just a really great atmosphere.
That's it. I want to go. That is just, I want to go, and, I think they're keeping this historic marvel alive with
Mm-hmm.
people in it, not just like, I'm not knocking museums, but this is like, it's alive because people are staying there, they're drinking, they're
Yep.
eating. they're coming and going just like a depot, in a depot. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a museum museums, people are coming and going too, but you know what I mean? It's still in kind of that hospitality mode, which I
Right.
think is fantastic.
And like you said, the history, and of course, when you walk around, they have plaques that will tell you the history of this particular chandelier or this particular clock or whatever. And so it's very, very historical. But yeah, to sit and imagine what it was back when it was a train station, like you said, who are the people that came here? Who were they? Where did they come from? Why'd they end up here? Kind of thing. It's just but the building and the architecture is just phenomenal.
You could do like a Love Boat TV series there. It's like who came into Nashville at that time. You could go like have episodes that have like flashback to like Chris Christopherson getting off the sorry.
There you go. There you go.
Christopherson. We've been playing a lot of his music lately, so he's still one of the best with that voice, right? We have to put him on the playlist. He has to. Sunday morning coming down. Come on.
There you go. You
Nashville song.
You can add him to our music.
Yeah, he's got to be in there. He'll be upset. We're still sad. We're mourning his loss still. I know it's terribly, but it is just there was no one like him. No one else had his voice and his lyrics. And I mean, you think about Johnny Cash and how he helped him, that's that community I was talking about, which is wonderful. I think that's a lovely thing for musicians to have that. I know like in Austin, they have the same thing, and the musicians do all these benefits and raise funds so that if especially during COVID in Austin, our friend Shelley King, she's always doing these concerts, and it raises money for musicians who get sick. For hospital,
there you go.
They can't afford insurance.
Right.
Come on,
starving artists.
Yeah, and so it's like they create these nonprofits together. There's picnics. There's all those kinds of places where the musicians get together, create something to take care of each other, to be able to continue their craft, no matter what the world is doing and how crazy it is. But they're the ones who keep us sane while everything is going crazy. So. We've all got to go to places like this. And, when we were in Nashville the last time, we met some of our friends over, and they were out they're from Holland, and we just all happened to be there and have this one little window to see each other, which was thrilling to see them. And we went, it was at their hotel bar restaurant. And even the servers, as they'll take your order, go put it in the kitchen, then go up and stand and sing. And then a next server will sing. So it was music the whole time. So that's a cool thing too. That music is always going. I like that. I think every city has to have music going nonstop. I do. I love it. Well, Lisa, thank you. We've got to go to Nashville, everybody. So,
yes.
I had no idea about the Parthenon Union Station. I didn't know Madame Tussauds was there. Sorry. So yeah, you brought some new things to the table, and then some of the most iconic that you must do when you go there.
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
Everyone, again, the list is in the episode notes. And hey, it's American Artist Appreciation Month, so let's go appreciate them. Thanks so much, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Journey Jukebox with travel writer and author and travel advisor Lisa Evans. Keep up with Lisa at writerlisa.com and follow bigblendradio.com for new episodes every third Tuesday.